So welcome to the lecture 16 of Design and Analysis of Algorithm course. In this session, we are going to talk about the maximum flow algorithms. It's a very interesting algorithm that is very easy to implement and see. However, I need your full attention because the computation part is actually because a lot of computation is involved. So sometimes it gets confusing just in writing the things because you have to write somewhere else and you write somewhere else. So that may be a issue only. Otherwise, this is going to be one of the very simple algorithm that you have seen till now. So this is not a single day class. The content that are there, they would be covered into two classes, this class and the later classes. So into the one more class. So let us start. So the problem is very simple and very elegant. What is given to you? A graph is given to you, and you know that what is the graph? There is some edges or sorry, there are some vertices, and in if there are some vertices that we call a set V that contains vertices, and there is another set called edges. Edge contains a ordered pair of two things U and V. They are the subset of V, and then there is a connection. So if there is a connection, we can say that the connection can have the weights. So here is an example where how many nodes we have? Any idea? How many nodes we have? Six. Okay, great. So we can write in this way. For example, V is equal to, we can write as V1, V2, V3, V4, and T. So we are going to talk about the graphs where this particular set of vertices contains two special kind of nodes, and we are going to call them S and T. S means source and T means sink. So and the edges that are there, they are going to represent some kind of capacity. So ultimately, what you can think this particular value as, that looks like that from V1 to V3, if you want to send something, you can only send, for example, 12 unit of thing in one time. So here and we call it capacity. So there is a capacity with all the links that is associated. So for example, this is the 13, this is 16, this is 4, and it is directional. So there is one direction. Everywhere there is direction. That this graph is directional graph. So whenever there is a UV is not equal to VU. UV, if there is an edge between U and V. So from V to U, it is not like that. We can say that it is negative. But for now, uh, in our case, we are not going to consider any negative things here. So this is what the scenario is, that you have a graph, and in this particular graph, two special nodes are there. That is called the source and sink, and you may call it destination also. There is some way that you can transfer. For example, you may think this particular thing as that. Let's assume that here it is a factory. S is a factory that is producing something, and he have to send the things over here, for example, to the India. This is a company, foreign company, that is producing, for example, mobile phones. He want to send those things to the India, and the peoples are here to ready to buy, but you cannot ship more than something, because let's assume that when you are sending something, there are various ways. And let's assume that this is what the, by aeroplane you can send only 16 units. Let's assume that there is another route by which you can send 13 units. So you cannot send more than this. So how much you can send? Can you find out this? 16 plus 13 is how much? 16 plus 13 is how much? 29. So this is what maximum you can send. Okay. But everything is not dependent upon this immediate connection, because there are some other things. Because when you are sending 16 unit, it is only reaching to the V1. You are using 13 unit, it is only reaching to the V2. What would happen after that? You have to again reroute the things so that it reaches to the T. You can transmit something to the V4, and you can transmit something to the V1 again, and from here you can only send 12. So it looks like that the sending 16 is actually not a good idea, because forwarding is not possible from here. If you send 16 at this particular place, then you cannot take it forward. So if you are producing to send 16 unit in this particular line, so ultimately what is going to happen, that your some of your production is going to get waste. So this analysis actually want to find out that if this kind of capacity network is given to you, then how much maximum you can send from one source to destination. So the problem actually, you may think in this way, that there is a source and there is a destination, and in between there is a connected network having some capacities. You want to send items from S to T, but since the individual things have a different kind of capacities, you cannot send more than that. Ultimately, how much you can send from source to destination is your problem. And because you always want to be maximize this particular quantity, that you want to send as much as possible. Simple thing. So the problem is clear. Okay. So let us see some of the definition that should be by yourself. I think by naturally you would be able to understand all these things. So let me just read out for you. For every age, you consider any particular age, non-negative capacity means capacity is positive. Any problem in that? The capacity is positive because I'm sending positive items. Make sense? So if I want to find out what is the capacity of UV, it is going to be greater than 0. Any problem? No. So straightforward. As I told you, there are two distinguished vertices that we call source and sink. They are a special thing. I'm going to consider them especially. Okay, because you want to produce the thing at the S and you want to let them go till T. That's why they are special, nothing more than this. Every vertex V, for every vertex V, the network has a path that you can come from source to V. If you start from source, you can reach to V, and from V you can go to T. So both the paths are available. What do I mean by this? That it is connected. Means if I, for example, if I put a node over here and I connect it with the T, doesn't mean anything, because if S cannot send anything to here, then anything cannot come from this particular source to this particular node to the T. So if these things are there, we can automatically first remove this, because ultimately if we are going to consider them, they are going to have the only computation overhead. So we are not going to consider only those kind of things. We can just quickly remove those things. When if we don't have the direct connection from S to V and V to T, then we can remove this particular part. Clear? Make sense? Self loops are not allowed, because if there is self loop, doesn't mean anything, because if something going from somewhere and coming back to here, doesn't mean anything, because we want to reach it, we want to ship to the item to the T. If somebody else is having storage, then doesn't mean anything. Make sense? So this is also an important thing, that in this kind of network we are assuming that these things are not there. No reverse edges. If UV is there, then VU is not there. Reverse edges are not there. For example, V to U there is link, but V1 to V2 there is no link. Okay, link should not be there, because we are going to sending from one place to another. However, if there is anything there, so there is a technique that says that, for example, let's assume that there are two paths from here to here. Also, there is a link. Then the solution says that actually you can add one more node over here. Say that thing are coming from here and going to here, and this by this you can actually utilize the same thing. Make sense? So I'm telling that both direction things are not there, just for the sake of safety into the computations. Otherwise, the value can become negative, and therefore it's not a good idea. Any problem on that? So last line is very special, that graph is connected. It should be connected, because if graph is not connected, then how can you send anything from the S to T? And as I told you, that few things which are actually here, they are not connected to S, but they are connected to T. They actually doesn't mean anything. So we can initially remove those things, because we don't want to have them. So if V number of edges are there, if V number of edges there, and the graph is connected, so at least how many edges are required? Can you tell me? If V number of mod V number of if mod V number of vertices we have, then how many edges are there? Need at least, because at least whatever number you are going to tell, I can use those many things to not connect. It may also be possible. But if I am, my question is this: if I am going to have lesser than that number, then I cannot make that graph connected. So you know that this number is v minus 1. If we are having v minus 1, because we know that whenever I'm going to, how come this value is coming? Because v is mod v number of components are there, different things are there. You can think in it that way. Whenever you are going to add one thing, one as, it is going to connect two things. So how many number of component remains? V minus 1 components remains. Okay, v different things were there. Whenever you are adding an as, actually two things are going to be connected and two things are removed. You can say that two things are removed and one thing is placed at that particular place because they are connected. You can join two things. So if I put mod of v minus 1 things over here, then what happened? Only one component would remain. By this logic, one by one, I'm adding one by one edges, and at the end, I'm going to get how many components? One component. So v minus 1 number of at least these many number of carefully selected edges are required. If I'm going to have this less than this many things, then definitely it is not going to be connected graph. There would be more components. Okay, there could be more component. Even as I told you that even with the v minus 1 number of edges, we can have more components. But at least this much is required if I claim that I have one component. So any question on this particular slide? Everything is clear? Now let me define a very important quality that is called the flow. So in this graph, we are going to have a flow. Flow is going to be a real number that is going to tell that what is this. So if flow is, we can take it as a function. Flow is a function that if you provide two different vertices, it is going to tell that how much flow between them, how much flow is there in between them. So it is just like the capacity, because into the capacity you are going to supply V and U to vertices. So here V and U are from what? From where? Vertices. Okay, set of vertices. So it is going to give you a real number. We have just seen the capacity. Capacity is going to be a real number 24, 7, 9. All these things are number. Any real number could be there. Right now they are integer, but need not to be. So we have a real number over there. Similarly, flow is also going to be a real number. So what is the flow between V and U is also going to be the real number. If I ask you that what is the flow here, can you tell me what is the flow here? The point is that only this is a problem is given to me. Flow is not shown. So here we have to find out that what is the maximum flow. That is a good thing that, okay, we want to find out. But what is the flow here? Flow is not shown here. No flow is shown here. Okay. Capacity is 12, but how much is flowing? Flow says that how much is flowing. So let me quickly tell you that just for the sake of our interest, let's assume that here you are sending 1 unit. Here also 1 unit. So when I'm writing 1 by 12 means what? This upper one is means what? It is a different number that tells that it is the flow. So and here let's assume that all the flow is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 by 7. So how much is reaching to the T? How much is the flow? Is 1. In this particular setting that I just showed you, the flow is 1. I can also flow, for example, 2 units here, 2 units here, 2 units here. So the flow has increased by 2. Now the flow is 3. Everybody understand? So for every UV, where U and V is coming from where? Set of vertices, I can define what is the flow. So in this particular case, if I define F V1, V2, what is the value? Can you tell me? Can anybody tell what is the value? It is given in the graph. V1, V3. So I think V1, V2. V1, V2. Okay. 0. Because from this thing, nothing is going. So it is 0. Okay. If I ask V2, V4, it is V2 to V4. 2. Make sense? So it is telling that I have a function. It is going to tell that I have a function. Okay, it is going to tell that f is a function that given two vertices, it is going to give me that what is the flow. Capacity constant, that is very important thing, that you know that this flow cannot be greater than what? If I find out UV between flow and capacity of UV is CUV, you know that this would be less than or equal to this. Yes or no? And flow should be greater than or equal to 0, because flow cannot be negative. We are actually assumed this. Flow is only going to be the positive. Make sense? Everybody? This thing is clear? Because whatever flow you have, it should be bounded by the capacity. And this should be positive. That's all we want. One thing is very interesting to see, that if I create a set where I remove S and T for all other nodes, means what? That in my graph, when I remove S and T for all other nodes, if you want to look closely, so whatever is coming to this particular node is actually the summation of whatever is going out. Make sense? On this particular node, whatever is coming is actually what is going out. How can I write this? I can write it this way. For all the V inside the V, if I want to find out that what is the, actually this story starts from here. If you pick any U inside this particular set, you understand that V minus ST is what set? All the nodes which are here except by excluding S and T. For them, if I find any other vertex V, and I find out that what is VU. VU means what is coming inside, because I'm talking about the U. So FVU means how much flow is in flow. How much inflow is there? Is equal to, if I say UV means how much flow going out. It is out. So should be equal to out, because nothing is going to be stored in a particular node. However, T can store and S can produce, but no other nodes. Make sense? So inflow is equal to outflow, and therefore this quantity is equal to this quantity. Everybody understand this quantity? We assume that if there is no link provided, for example, if I say that if UV is not there into edges, if there is no connection between two of the nodes, if this connection is not there, so how much flow there is? Zero flow. We can say that the flow between those two things is equal to 0. Because if I want to find out the summation, you will be asking, sir, how can you ask the summation? Because there could be something which don't have any on any edges. Okay, if I want to ask you that give me this particular summation, you cannot give me this solution. Why? Because some values would be there for whom even things are not there, edges are not there. So to save myself from that thing, I am going to say that if edge is not there, then flow is 0. So the thing even which are not defined over here, we can find out that there is some phase saving for that. Any questions on that? So think till now, sir, I have a doubt. If there is an alternate route between two nodes A and B such that it offers highest flow, capacity of AB is, then FAB is greater than CAB. Okay, Shivam is asking a question that I think everybody can see that if there is an alternate route, he actually wanted to tell that if you have a node A and you have a node B, okay, he is telling that let's assume that there is some node C and there is a node coming from here to here. Okay, he wanted to tell that if I want to find out what is the flow between A and B, and you know that there is a capacity is defined between A and B. Capacity, let's assume, is 5. Capacity is 5. But by this route, 10 can go here, 10 can go here. Therefore, the flow between A and B becomes how much? And let's assume 5 is going here. It becomes 15. Shivam, you wanted to say this? Say yes. Okay. You wanted to say this? But the question is that this flow is between A and C and B. It is not between A and B. Please understand. In my definition, when I'm going to say that what is the flow between A and B, it is not the total flow. I'm just considering the direct flow between A and B. Okay, so you don't get confused, because here it is not, A is not going to be the producer and B is not going to be the sink. Here they are intermediate nodes in my definition, because I'm defining in this way. Okay, you may be right that if you overall find out that how much coming here to there, then the things can be very different. And even you can think that something is coming from, for example, a third node that is coming over here. Many nodes are there which are going to give over there. So can you attribute all those things to A? The answer is no, because how come A can send 10 over there and 5 over here? It is only possible that if there is other node that is going to pump these things into here, A. Okay, so we are not considering that all those things. We are from the source and destination only. We are going to tell that it can by itself can generate and send to the B, send to the source. For all other nodes, nothing has been produced. So whenever I'm going to talk about the flow between A, B, it is only going to talk about the direct connections. Make sense? Okay, so thank you for asking this question. Please keep asking. These things are very simple. Otherwise, you may these things are so simple. I'm just going to give some definitions to confuse you only. Okay. Otherwise, these things are not needed. Everything you know. I'm just discussing these things to confuse you. Okay. If you are getting confused, please ask the question. Okay. 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 Okay, so if on the if because we are defining a network, so in the complete network, I want to find out that what is the flow. We have just now talked about the flow between uh, two uh, two nodes. Okay, so here also please try to understand, if there is node A and there is node B, and in between I want to find out that what is the flow, but there is no direct connection. If there is direct connection is not there, but there is a connection from A to C and C to B, and let's assume here the flow is 5, flow is 5. If I ask that what is FAB, then what is the value? Can anybody tell? Can anybody tell that what is the value? Oh, Shivam, you are not expected to answer, because I have told you this. Okay. So people may think that the value would be 5, but actually value is not 5. It is going to be 0, because whenever I'm going to say F in this way, I need the direct connection. And since the direct connection is not there, I would say 0. You are correct. You are right, Shivam. Okay. So this is what the scenario we are. So let me clear it. Okay. Cut. Okay. So we were talking about the flow between two nodes. Now I'm going to talk about the flow into the network. How much flow is there into the network? Okay, if you want to find out this, then you have total network. So total network, you can think that whatever is going to come out of S is actually going to be the network flow. If the things are things are stabilized, maximum is being pumped by the S. So you can just think that whatever being pumped by the S, what is being pumped by the S is actually going to be the net by flow, because this is the going to be flow now, because this is the maximum, this is the flow that is going to come into the network. S is only the thing that he is producing. I want to find out that how much uh, for all the vertices, because and how the S is going to produce. It is going to send to somebody. Okay, it is going to send to somebody. There are some nodes over here. So for each nodes from S to V, for all the V's who are there, I want to see that how much being pumped by S into the V. This definition is fine or not? This definition is fine or not? Because S is sending to the V's. Try to see that how much S is sending to all other vertices. The summation is going to be given as a network flow. This is the value that I want to be maximized. Okay. There could be one more term that tells that is there any other node that is sending something to the S, because S was sending to each other thing, each to others. But if there is other node that is sending to the S, it may also be possible. So that thing should be subtracted, okay, because then that value need to be subtracted. Because if S has sent something that has been, and we assume that only S is the thing that he is producing. So if some other node is sending something to the S, definitely it is because of something has come from the S, it has come here, then it has been returned to the S. It is the only way possible. I'm thinking only S is going to produce. So it can be taken into this particular way, that in this way it can come. But we would make sure when we are going to find out the solution that nobody is sending something to the S. Okay, that's why we think we actually have this particular quantity as a zero. This particular quantity is actually going to be zero because nobody is going to send in our solution. No, nobody is going to send anything. So network flow is actually can be taken by this first quantity only. Make sense? Okay. Okay. So what is the maximum flow problem? Maximum flow problem is this, that given a flow network G with the source S and the sink T, we wish to find out a flow of maximum value. So can you give me the assignment of all the edges, that how much the flow is there? So my question is. My question is how much flow is there? I want to find out this. So a few minutes back, that's okay, sir, clear. Thank you. Okay. So I few minutes back, I just told you this thing, that if this is what the network is given to me, where there is a source, there is a sink, and there is a parallelase. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell that I'm going to add another node, and I'm going to tell that they are connected in this way. By this, parallelase problem can be solved. If there is a parallelase, anti-parallelase means one is into this side, another is into this side. They are anti-parallelases. So by using this technique, we can solve it. So if we can solve it, so can we assume that we are into this particular scenario always? Answer is yes or no. Yes, we can always, without loss of generality, without any problem, we can assume that we are always into this particular scenario because this is the solution that we have developed. One more solution, one more problem. It may be problem that there could be multiple sources from here also, from many places the things are coming into the network, and there are multiple sources, sinks where the things are going to enter. It may also be the problem. If this kind of problem is given to you, then what would you do? It may be required, but because let's assume that the Apple is producing the iPhone from I don't know, China, Vietnam, many USA, many places, and he want to send the multiple places such as to the India, but he, yeah, Shivam is given the answer. He want to send us, so he is sending to Chennai, he is sending to Bangalore, he is sending to different Mumbai, various places. So if this is what the scenario is, we may think that there is super place somewhere else available. Chand pe. Let's assume that there is some factory on the moon, and from moon the factory they are sending all these things to where? US and Vietnam and China, and from there it is coming to Mumbai and Kolkata and Bangalore, and from there I am going to send it to the India. Let's assume that India, entry point of the India. Let's assume we define any other place also. So if I change this kind of thing, so multiple sources and multiple sink problem can also be converted to this particular place, this particular setting. Okay. So we are again into the same kind of scenario. So what I wanted to tell you that the simplified model that we were thinking is general enough, that whatever problem you can come up, we can convert this always into this particular problem, then we can solve it, and then by after solving we can send our solution back. Shivam is writing, sir, can we assume that there will be no cycle in the flow graph where we have to find maximum flow? Because otherwise we can make any amount of object flow in the cycle to obtain the higher flow value. So Shivam is you are perfectly right, But if you are rotating the things into the circle, let's assume that here there is a circle or cycle, and you are rotating the things into the cycle. So what effect it is going to me? It is nothing is going from source to sink. Na? We wanted to find out things should go from source to sink. If there is a cycle, we don't have any problem. And anyway, you cannot send more the things into this particular cycle because there is a capacity involved, so you cannot send more than that. And in between, if something is circulating, means what? That you are, whether you are sending from source to destination, is it solving any kind of solution? Answer is no. So by doing this, means by circulating anything in between, it is not going to be added to the flow. Is it clear? Later, we would in this particular class, we would also see there is a very interesting concept that tells that there is a cut into the network, and you can find out in many ways. So anything that is flowing from one side to other, if you just find out the summation of that particular thing, it is going to be that is going to be your network flow. So if there is a cycle here, it is not going to cross my border. If here is a cycle, then it is also not going to be going to cross my border. But something, if there is, for example, this is a circle, and I'm going to cut using my border, then whatever amount is coming, that is also going out. So they make it nullified. So ultimately, our objective is to push the thing from S to T, and therefore having cycle is not going to have any kind of bad effect. So till now, what we have discussed, that what is my problem structure, and here only single source and single sink is enough. If you have more, we can also convert it here. So it is more general part. Okay, everybody is ready to see the algorithm, that how can we solve this particular problem? Yes. Should I give you the solution? How to find out the maximum one? Yes or no? Okay. So 2 students want this. Where are others? Rahul, where are you? Okay. So the solution is such a simple that when you come in your front, you may not realize that such a powerful method I am going to talk about. However, this particular solution includes small components, and that we would discuss very soon. The algorithm is called Ford full creation method, and it is called method because it involves various small things, various small procedures. So it is not an algorithm, complete algorithm, because it is using various different things to devise the method. Okay, we would see that. What is input? That you are going to give me a graph, and who is starting and who is sink node, this specification. Initialize the flow to 0. Initially, I am telling that there is no flow into the network. And now the very important term comes. While there exists an augmenting path in the residual network. Till now what we had? We had a graph. Now I am going to talk about anything else that is called the residual network. Everybody, please focus. What we have, we are given a graph. I'm going to tell you that you have to find out if there is a augmenting path. What is the augmenting path? We are going to talk about this. So please catch these words. We are going to find out augmenting, if there exists a augmenting path in residual network. So ultimately, what we are going to do, that we are going to use this particular graph. We are going to use this particular graph to make a residual network. And in this residual network, we find out that if there is a augmenting path, what is that we would be seeing very soon. If it exists, then I am going to augment the flow along this path. I'm going to call this path as a P, and whatever this augmenting path is, in this particular direction, I am going to augment the flow. So again, there is one more term. What is the augmentation of the flow? What is the augmentation of the flow? So 3 things are coming. So focus on these 3 things. What is residual network? Okay. Be ready with the answers. That what is the residual network? What is augmenting path? And how to augment the flow? These three things we are going to talk about. If you understand these three things, then algorithm is very simple. It actually says, once again, let me tell you, the algorithm, the method says that from this G, you build the residual network, find out that if there exists an augmenting path, you augment that into the flow, and by this again this residual network changes, and you be into this particular circle, until the augment you are not until all the augmenting paths are actually exhausted, and then you return me the flow because you have created the flow network, that particular flow network which you initialize with the value 0. Going to do that. Everybody, three things you are going to ask from me, sir. What is the residual network? What is the augmenting path? And how can I augment the flow into the network? That's a very simple thing again, but just focus on them so that you can ask the questions. Okay, so let me tell you that what is this residual network? Okay, so residual network is this, that let's assume that you have a graph. In graph there is some flow. Flow is defined by, for each UV you are going to define a value. Okay, for each UV you are going to define a value, and using, if the flow is defined and you know that what is the capacity between UV, then you can say that what is the residual capacity. Okay, initially F is 0. You start by this particular thing, the second part you take it 0. Initially is 0, but when you are going to augment this, then this particular part is going to achieve some value, and then we can utilize this. How to utilize this we will see very soon. So this part is clear. Once again, residual network is going to have two things. What? That is residue, number one, and second thing is flow. And what is this flow? Initially the flow is 0, but when we are going to augment it, flow is going to have, because of this augmentation, this value is going to be given to that. Okay, so now it is very small thing that is written, that if you want to, what is EF? What is EF? EF. Okay, EF is actually the residual network we are talking about. So it would be clear to you when I'm going to give you this particular example. Everybody, very simple problem. From where it came. Let me go to the slide number 1. Let me show you. This was the network I had. Everybody remember it? Let me see, can I copy? Let me see that. Can I copy and paste? I'm not sure about that. Paste. Wow, I can do it. So everybody please concentrate for a few minutes. Okay, we are very near to the solution. 16 was there, so here is a 16. 12 was there, so here is a 12. 20 was there, so here is a 20. Direction is the same. 9 is here is a 9. 7 is here, so here is a 7. 4 is here is a 4. 14 is here is a 14. 13 is here is a 13. 4 is here, 4 is here. Sorry. I cannot cut it. Cut. Okay. This is clear to everybody. Okay. Now let me show you something else. There are few values written over here. What is 112, these things? So let's assume initially all these values are 0. All these values which are written over 0. As I told you, this algorithm says that initially these values are 0. They represents flow. They represent what? Flow. Let's assume after some time, initially their value is 0. When you would start your algorithm, your method, then these values are going to be 0. But let's assume at some point of time this value is 12, this value is 11, this value is 8, this value is 1, this is 4, this is 11, this is 7, this is 15, this is 4. Let's assume this is the scenario. Then how would you create a new residual network? You would create a residual network. Residual network have two kind of edges. What is residue and what is flow? Two kind of edges you have to come add. See here. So all the nodes which are here, they would also be here. The S is a node, V1 is a node. Everybody please see, I can do some mistakes also. If I'm going to do the mistake, tell me that sir you have done the mistake. T. Okay, let me plot this particular first part. What is residue? Residue means that capacity minus flow. What is capacity? Capacity is this value and flow is the upper value, and this value uv is equal to uv minus uv. So this side I'm going to plot how much. 16 minus 11 is equal to, can you tell me how much it is? 5. Everybody understand this? No? Okay. 12 how much it is? 0 need not to plot it. हटा दो. How much it is? 1520. How much it is? 1520. How much it is? 5. How much it is? 5. How much here? 1114. It is 3. Am I right? Please help me. I can do mistakes. 1114. How much it is? 3. 813. How much it is? 5. And 14. How much it is? 3. 49. How much it is? How much it is? 5. How much it is? I think let me first remove this. 7. It becomes 0. So no need to contact them. Anything else? Anything else? Am I missing? Yes or no? Not missing anything? I need your full support. Otherwise, I would not be able to teach you. No problem? Okay. Second part is the flow. And here you see CFUV is equal to FVU. What do I mean by this? This was the flow of 11 into this particular site. Okay, let me just clear it for a few minutes. Okay. Once again, see this flow. Second thing in this residual network, second thing is the flow. UV is equal to VU. Means what? I have to draw something else. 11 was going this side, so I would add 11 here. See it? 8 was going this side, I would add 8 here. 1 was going there, I can add 1 over here. 12 was going there, I can add 12 into this particular side. Please help me, I can do mistakes. Is it 15 correct? I'm writing correct. I'm writing correct 7. I'm writing correct 4. Am I writing correct 11? Am I writing correct 4? If you understood this, my task is done. Okay. Two conditions are there. First, that if I have not done, plus check W4 to T2 once. Okay. W4 to 2. W4 to T. I think. Okay. So thank you very much, Subham. You have saved me. So I have done the mistake here. This should be. So you are not telling that I may have gone. So this side, because 4 by 4 is there, so capacity part becomes 0. Okay, so I have to remove it. So what I was telling few minutes back, that if you understood this thing and I have not done any mistake, then my task is done. Thank you, Shubham, for correcting me. So till now, where we are? in this algorithm till now where we are. Let me show you that where we are. Cut. Now for this particular G, we have created residual network. When I was in between doing something. Then the next part is if there exists an augmenting path. The second part we are going to learn if there exists a augmenting path or not. Okay. So augmenting path says that can you find out a path? Can you find out a path that starts from S and reaches T? Can you find out any path? For example, I from here I go here. From here I come here. From here I come here because this is what the link is. Then I can go here. Then I can go here. This is a path available. One path. Can you see that? 5, then 1, then 4, then 5. I can come up into this particular way. You understand this? This is what the augmenting path is. Can you find out a path or not? Make sense? So this was one path. But this path, is there any other path? Definitely, if you don't want to, if you come here, there is no other way to go. This is not a path. There's no way in this direction. So definitely you have to come here. After coming here, you can go here, but after this, there is no way. So you would not come here. Then definitely you have to come from here to you only have to go here. Then only you can reach here. Only way to go ahead into this particular way. So in this particular way, if you find out this particular path, what is the how much you can flow into this particular way? Because in this particular direction, here was 5, here was 1, then 4, then 5. The minimum was 1, so you cannot flow more than 1. Okay. Is there any other path? It need not to be. I'm telling that you need not to be. Okay. Rahul is asking, sir, sir, the augmenting path should contain only the residual link or it can contain flow link as well. I'm telling that you can take anything. Okay. It can take anything. Okay. It can take anything. So, okay. It can take anything because if you are going to go into the direction of flow means you are reducing the flow. Actually means it doesn't mean anything else. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you that is there any other path? So you can see that from 5 here, 4 here, and 5 here. So this way, 4 flow of the 4 is possible. So you can take it like that. Let me take this particular, consider this particular one. Which one? From here to here, then here to here, then here. This particular flow. Let me consider this. And what is the strength? We have just talked about. The strength is going to be the 4. Then you have understood that what is the augmenting path. Everybody understood that what is the residual network. Everybody understood that what is the augmenting path. And the remaining thing is this, that augment the flow along the P. Now you have to augment the flow along the P. So that's very easy because you know that path. So everywhere you add this particular value. What is this? 8 plus 4, 4 plus 4, and 15 plus 4. In this particular path, you change this value. Can you do this change? So what's the problem? No issue is there. So you say that you in this particular graph you say that let me remove this part, remove this thing. I can say that safely. I can say this that you put 8 by 13. You put, I think I can take the smaller one. I can say that 8 by 13 becomes 12 by 13. Okay, this 4 by 9 become 8 by 9. So I can remove it. 15 by 9 become 19 by 20. Okay, this is what the flow is. Done. Everybody say yes that you understood. So I'm not going to tell you what to do next. You would be telling that what to do next. Once again, from this you create this. Find out a augmenting path. You have understood that how to augment this thing. Once again, from here you create the residual network. Find out augmenting path. Do until you can do it. You can see that after doing this, what would happen to this particular graph? Should we try it? Because you have increased this particular thing. So what would be the value? Let me just quickly remove all these things. So what would happen? So let me tell you that what happened now. Sometimes what is somebody's written, sir, shouldn't it be V1, V3 S should be become 0? V1, V3, V1, V3 should become 0. V1, V3. V1, V3 should become 0 instead of 8. Where is it? I don't see it. Achha, you are talking about here. Nah, you wait 1 minute. It looks like that you are talking something about this. I am telling that scrap it. I am telling that scrap it. Okay, scrap it. Cut. Whatever 4 we have obtained, our task was only to find out the 4. And then I have updated these values. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then you utilize these new values to create again the things that I told you. Okay. 4 to 9 to 8 by 9. So okay, sir. Okay, I'm very sorry. I think Shivam, you are perfectly right because you are perfectly right. This happens actually. That's why actually I need your help in this particular thing. I'm in the just flow of the teaching. I forget that the direction is this instead of this. Okay, the flow was into this particular direction, so it becomes 0. You are perfectly right. This value should be 0. You are perfectly right. This value should be 0. Okay, Shivam, thank you very much for saving me. Otherwise, what would happen now? So I would be into the big problem. So you are perfectly right. This value should be become 0 by 9. Okay, you are all right. Makes sense. So ultimately, look, there are equations written. So we are just into the interest of the things I'm writing like that. Okay. So you are perfectly right. Thank you very much for focusing this. Thank you. Okay. So here it's the value should be 0 because I was augmenting the thing into this particular direction. So here this 4 becomes 0. Okay, you are perfectly right. Then again you modify this and then you can go ahead, and after some time you will not be able to find out any other path, and then you would stop. So this is how we can proceed and we can find out the new things, and we have just discussed that. So that's all for today. I would stop at this particular moment, and in the next class we would see that there are some mathematical derivations that actually are going to prove that whatever we are going to do, they are going to be correct, and they are related to there is a proof methodology that actually uses cuts and other things. So we would discuss all these things into the next class. Okay. So I just this is an example where one by one, when the things are actually going to come, how the network flow discovery has been executed. This is taken from the book. I suggest you to please read this, and in the next class we will discuss all these mathematical concepts. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining.